Oops, wait, give me a second here. Okay, guys, it's your pal, the Lord the Body. And for you lost 10 laws that you broken without even knowing. From Matthew Santoro. Weird name, but my name is also weird. Lord the Body. One day I will tell you my real and actual name. But that name is even weirder. So I'm gonna keep it a secret for now. Okay, let's get right to the video. Let's do this. Whoop.
Most people on this planet, you consider yourself a good person. You probably hold doors open for people, you have good manners, and of course you would never think of breaking the law. But you might be surprised to learn that you may be breaking multiple laws every day and you don't even realize it. Yes, there are laws in place that forbid many of the things that we are used to doing every day, but are actually illegal. So today, I'm going to tell you exactly what those laws are, and trust me, they're going to surprise you. And yes, these are real laws, and yes, you can be arrested for them. So, without further ado, here are 10 laws you've broken without even knowing. Yeah, you also might want to get your lawyer on the phone by the end of this one, just in case. Number 1 is singing Happy Birthday. If you've ever sang the song Happy Birthday in a public place, believe it or not, you've broken the law. Surprise! The song was actually copyrighted back in 1935, and technically, you need to pay
broken the
royalties
law
in
like,
order
I
to
don't
use
know,
it. Now, you might be thinking,
100 times.
It's technically the law, but nobody actually abides by it. Well, actually, that song brings in an estimated $2 million a year, so somebody's paying it. The copyright to the song was purchased by Warner Music in 1988 for $25 million, and since then has been the topic of multiple lawsuits. Now, the song remains in a huge gray area at the moment, but most legal professionals realistically consider the song to be in a public domain at this point. However, Warner Music would disagree, mostly because the song is the highest earning single song in history, as well as the most recognizable song in the English language. But don't worry, you keep singing that Happy Birthday song. Whatever makes you feel good, baby, you stick it to the man with your bad self. Number 2 is connecting to unsecured Wi-Fi networks. Let's be completely honest. Some of you get pretty excited when you see your neighbor has unsecured Wi-Fi, free surfing, and no bill. Good times, except that it can get you thrown in prison. Connecting to an unsecured Wi-Fi connection falls under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, which makes it a crime to have unauthorized access to anyone's computer or their Wi-Fi. How serious is it? Well, in the United States, it's a third-degree felony that carries a prison sentence of up to 2 years in jail and up to $10,000 in fines. Now, realistically, will this happen? Probably not, but I wouldn't want to test getting caught. Besides, if you really want Wi-Fi, just come over to my place. My Wi-Fi is Bill Nye the Science Fi, and the password is Science Rules. I'm a loner. Number 3 is selling stuff online. Most of us at some point have sold something online, whether it's through eBay or some other online merchant. And these sites have very clear rules when it comes to selling things like bootleg movies, alcohol, and tobacco products. This you already know. But did you know that anything you sell online, big or small, must be claimed as income on your federal tax return? Oh yeah, you're going to jail because you sold an old sweater. Sorry. No, of course I'm kidding. Chances are the federal government is not going to find out about the $10 that you made off of selling your old pogs, but the fact remains that the law requires you to claim that money. In fact, theoretically, the IRS, CRA, or whatever governing tax body your country has doesn't care where your income comes from as long as you claim it and pay taxes on it. This literally means that if you're a drug dealer, you better be claiming all those dime bags you're selling, baby. Although nobody really expects all you mini Pablo Escobars out there to start paying your fair share of taxes, so you go on your way. Number 4 is throwing away junk mail. Okay, be honest, if you've ever moved into a new place, what do you do with the junk mail that you received that was meant for the previous tenants? How many times have you actually written return to sender or person has moved on those envelopes and taken the time to go back to the post office? I'm a guess none of you. Most people in those situations wind up throwing those pieces of mail in the garbage, but guess what? It's super illegal. In fact, it's a federal crime to open, destroy, or otherwise tamper with another person's mail. And that includes tossing it in the trash, even junk mail. How illegal is it? Well, try a $250,000 fine and potentially 5 years in prison. Number 5 is carrying a marker. If you like craft, prepare to cry. Believe it or not, if you've ever carried a marker like a Sharpie or any other kind of permanent writing tool, depending on where you are, you likely broke the law. This is because many places have passed anti-graffiti laws that ban you from carrying carrying aerosol cans or permanent markers. In the US, many states like New York and California have even passed laws making it illegal to buy
Really,
markers
people?
if you're under the age of 18. The government
Illegal
considers
to
them
carry
graffiti
markers.
tools, and although it's unlikely that you'll be frisked, or for that matter arrested, in many states it's not worth the risk. Number 6 is using a car air freshener. That air freshener
What?
hanging from your rear view mirror, making your whole ride smell like pine
Mate,
trees
no.
and bird songs, is actually illegal. According to many cities, states, and highway patrol agencies, anything that hangs to impede your view of your windshield, even a small amount, can lead to an accident and therefore is against the law. Yes, this includes most air fresheners, hanging
Really?
dice,
In
sunglasses,
Europe you will
or
never
anything
hear
else that restricts
something
your
like
field
that.
of vision. Even though it might
Here in
seem
Europe,
completely silly, it's been proven
quite a lot of
that
people
even a
have
tree-style air
freshener things,
freshener can
and
completely
no
block
one
out someone on a
tell them that
motorcycle if it sits
those
at the
things
right
are
angle.
evil.
Number 7 is
Come on.
betting with your friends. If you've ever been hanging with your friends and you all start placing bets,
What?
say on a game like football or
Are
basketball,
you serious?
you may have actually broken the law.
Oh, come
According to
on.
the Illegal Gambling Act in the US, if there were 5 or more people involved in a total of $2,000
Oh, come on, it's
or
not
more,
poker.
it constitutes illegal gambling
Are you
and
serious?
is
This is
punishable for
this
up to
is
10
stupid.
years in prison. Now, you
5
likely
years.
haven't bet that much, so you're probably okay. But if you ever had a poker night with the dudes, there's a chance
Oh.
that that amount may have been involved. Now, don't worry, you're not going to prison. Unless someone narcs on you. Watch out for that new guy with a mustache. You can't trust anyone with a mustache. Number 8 is throwing snowballs. As a kid growing up in Canada, snowball fights were super common, as they are pretty much anywhere else in the world that it gets cold. It's one of the only benefits that we get for living in a giant freezer for 6 months of the year. But because it's on this list, you guessed it, throwing snowballs and the act of hitting someone with it is actually assault. Now, before you roll your
What?
eyes and think that that's stupid, in February of 2014, a 13-year-old boy in Chicago threw a snowball and hit a police officer in the arm. And guess what? The boy was arrested, brought up on felony charges, and was suspended from school for 5 days. And that wasn't the only case. In 2010, 15 men in New York City were arrested for the same thing. So obviously, the moral
Well,
of the
they
story here
assaulted
is
a
to
cop.
throw snowballs.
This is not
Throw
illegal.
the snowball,
People
hit him
just
in the head, and just run.
wait. Come on. Shit. Give me a
And get
second.
away. Number 9
It's
is
stupid.
using fake names online. If you
Oh, come on. Give me a second.
never done this, you haven't been on the internet. Everyone at some point has entered fake info online for something, whether it's an online registration form, a Facebook name, or some gaming site. And again steps in the computer fraud
Come on.
anything. And believe it or not, doing so
Give me a second.
constitutes hacking and is punishable for up to 20 years in prison. That's right. You want to think again about calling yourself Tony Flamingo? But hey, you're thinking
Tony
nobody's actually
Flamingo.
going to go to jail for something like that, right? No. In 2010, a prison profile for his boss. And arrests like this are becoming much more common as cyberbullying and fraud continues to grow, so don't risk it. P.S. If anyone leaves a comment on this video with the username Tony Flamingo, I will personally respond to it. And number 10 is swearing in public. Everybody at some point swears. In fact, studies suggest that swearing is a healthy and natural way to relieve anger. But believe it or not, if other people hear you, you just broke places, including the United States and Canada, the criminal code states that if swearing causes other people in the vicinity to take notice, then it is indeed an offense that can be met with fines and, yes, even jail time. It falls under creating a public disturbance or disturbing the peace, so be careful. So those were 10 laws that you've likely broken and didn't even know it. But now that you know
Criminal.
how many of these laws have
Oh my
you
god.
broken? You don't have to
I
say which
break
ones,
tons of
but
laws
leave a number in
without
the
even
comments,
knowing
or,
it.
you know, if you're feeling badass, say
Oh, yeah.
exactly which one. Ooh, look at you.
Oh.
And as always, if you're subscribed to my channel, remember to click the little notification bell beside the subscribe button so that you can enable notifications
Happy
to be alerted the next time I upload my next video.
2018.
And that's it.
The
Have a great
year
day,
of
guys.
dog.
Obey the law.
I mean
don't
the
want you to
dog
go to jail,
year.
you know what I'm saying? You're valuable.
It is ending, so as
I don't
always,
want no conjugal visits.
like,
What? Okay, I'll see you guys
show
next
to
time.
your friends, and of course, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. So bye.